Hi everyone. So this is to walk you guys through your second essay. This essay is due on Sunday, November 11th at midnight. And you guys have read a number of texts focusing on this World War I and II time frame, looking at modernist ideals and this changing American landscape. You've looked at a number of movements in here as well. So there's a lot to write about, a lot to think about. So what I want you to do is choose two authors from the unit, and I want you to compare and contrast their works with literary analysis. So if they used multiple poems, you could do one poem from each. You could do a poem and a prose. You could do two poems from both authors. I wouldn't do more than two poems each. That's quite a lot, but you are welcome to focus on whichever two authors and works that you like, as long as they were the authors and works read in this unit. So you're basically going to choose authors that you think fit together, whether you think they fit together naturally or unnaturally. You could do some really interesting things with authors who don't seem to go together, or you can fit together authors who seem to naturally go together. And as you talk about them, you're going to look at how they're similar and different in terms of their literary style, the elements, the historical context, and the biography. So you're doing what you did in the first essay, but you're bringing in two different authors and comparing those texts, those histories together. You're going to use the graphic organizer that you created to help you do this. And you need to have two sources in this essay. One can be a source of your choosing. The other one has to be a scholarly source from the TCC database. This essay is 3 to 4 pages, due on Sunday, November 11th at midnight. 3 pages all the way down to the bottom minimum. You can always write more, just can't write less. Remember that everything is checked through SafeAssign, and everything needs proper citation, so you do need to have a bibliography. It should have at least 4 entries on it, 2 authors, and 2 sources. Make sure you also cite in text. So the authors you can choose from are Frost, Eliot, Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Claude McKay, and Langston Hughes. The choice of topic and works are yours, so choose carefully. You do need to think about how these works compare using your understanding of the historical era and the biographical information. So you could put together the two Harlem Renaissance authors pretty easily. You could put together Hemingway and Fitzgerald very easily. You could put together Eliot and Hemingway pretty easily. Those all make sense. If you wanted to do something really interesting, you could put together maybe Langston Hughes' poetry and Robert Frost's poetry, or you could put together Fitzgerald's short story with Eliot's The Wasteland. A lot of these could be really interesting pairings, so choose carefully and think about how you might fit together some of these biographies in this historical situation. You need lots of good evidence from the texts and from your sources. So again, make sure you have good, solid quotes to illustrate what you're talking about, but don't let your voice get lost. Some things you might think about. How do the works connect in terms of the theme or other literary elements? Where are they similar? Where are they different? Same thing with the structure or the meaning of the work. How does the different structures, say a poem and a prose, create different meaning or similar meaning? How does the historical and biographical elements contextualize both works? So how might you connect, maybe Langston Hughes and Hemingway? Remember, though, to keep the focus on the text more than anything else. That's the important part. Bring in the biography and the historical situation secondarily. Think about how these things impact the social, political, or economic framework surrounding the work. So how did, say, for example, Hemingway and Fitzgerald impact the expat, image post-World War II? How did someone like Robert Frost impact politics and social mores? How did Langston Hughes and Claude McKay change or challenge existing status quo? So you're going to think about, you're going to be graded on having a fully developed argumentative thesis statement, a solid essay structure overall, good close analysis of the works, lots of evidence from both the primary and secondary sources, proper page length MLA, proper number of sources and citations, and then again a fully developed essay structure with a good intro and thesis, good main ideas and conclusions, and then a good and clear organization of your concepts. So rather than organizing this as one paragraph for one author and then one paragraph for another, I want you to think about it thematically. So take your main ideas and connect both authors in each paragraph across that main idea. So for example, if I was going to talk about outsider status as for Hemingway and Langston Hughes, the first one might be that both men, experienced trauma in their lives, and then I would connect how I would show it through Hemingway's short story, and then I would show, or the first idea could be that there's trauma in their works. Apologies. So the first one I would do, I would show how Hemingway shows trauma in his work, and then I would show how Langston Hughes shows trauma in his work in one paragraph. And then the next main idea could be that both were outsiders in their, both men reflected outsider status in their works. So I could talk about how Hemingway shows outsider status of expats and Hughes shows outsider status in Harlem. And you get the idea. But I really don't want you guys to do one paragraph for each, because that's not quite as advanced as we need to be at the college level. So if you guys have any questions about this, let me know. But otherwise, like I said, I left it open purposefully because I want you guys to be able to connect the authors that you would like to connect and talk about what you guys want to talk about. So you guys have this week to work, and I look forward to reading these essays.